Hi, I'm Abubakar Siddiq Ango, developer evangelist at GitLab. And in this video, I'll be talking about GitLab Duo Code Suggestions. Yeah, AI is powering every part of our software development lifecycle. And having AI-powered workflows helps you to build secure software faster and more efficiently. GitLab Duo Code Suggestions, your AI pair programmer, which supports multiple languages. I think as at now, it's currently supports up to 14 languages, including infrastructure as code languages like Terraform. Now, no proprietary data is used to train GitLab code suggestion models, which ensures privacy and transparency. In this video, I'll be focusing on GitLab Duo Suggestions support for Terraform. Now, we all know anytime you want to write your Terraform plans, you have to really spend a lot of time in the documentation, especially if you are working with a provider that you are not familiar with or a module you are not familiar with. GitLab Code Suggestions can help you draft and create your configuration files with ease and efficiently. Now, to use GitLab Code Suggestions, you can use any IDE that you support. You can use the GitLab Web IDE or Visual Studio Code, JetBrains IDE, and so on. But in this video, we'll be using GitLab Visual Studio Code, and also we'll be having the Terraform official Visual Studio Code extension installed. This is required for you to use code suggestions with Terraform. Now, all in your gitlab.com account or on self-hosted, if you are using this with self-hosted, you will need to have enabled code suggestions for your account. This will allow GitLab to be able to authenticate with your account on GitLab and use code suggestions. Now, let's head on over and see some demo. Okay, yeah. I'll be using Visual Studio Code, and some of the prerequisites I need to make sure are in place for me to use code suggestions for Terraform is, okay, to ensure I have the GitLab workflow extension installed, and also to make sure that it's configured. I have GitLab Duo enabled. Yeah, you see, I have GitLab Duo chat is enabled, and also AI code suggestions are enabled. Now, another thing that you need is to ensure that Terraform is enabled. The official extension of Terraform is also enabled for your Visual Studio Code or any other IDE that you're using. Now, if you notice in the footer of my Visual Studio Code, it's sure I can easily see there that code suggestions is enabled. That way I know at any point in time, if I encounter an error, to see the status of the of code suggestions to make sure it's running. Now, another thing to notice, you have the GitLab Duo chat enabled. You can ask questions or basically interact with GitLab Duo chat for any questions you have. Now, let's go and create a file. Okay, let's say, for example, I want to create a GCP resource. Let's say GCP dot tf Terraform. Then you see, so let's start by telling GitLab Duo Code Suggestions what we want to do. First, we want to add GCP provider. Now, depending on your network, it might take a little while. Yeah. Then we press tab to accept whatever it brings for us. So we can then provide a project ID and region and zone that we want. So we can accept this, or I already have a copy of my my region and zone that I want. And the next thing is, GitLab Duo understands the context of what you're doing. Okay, you've provided a GCP provider. Okay, it will suggest other things that you can add. I can simply tap this. It's suggesting create a GCP resource storage bucket, but that's not what I want to do. I want to be more descriptive. Okay, next thing we'll do is to be descriptive and tell GitLab Duo Code Suggestions what we want to achieve as much as we can. So let's say we say create create 4 compute instances with a load balancer backend service and a URL map. Okay, that is a lot. I think 3 to 4 different things that we want it to achieve. Let's wait and see how it handles this. Okay, awesome. Now, so let's review what it has done. First, it's creating our compute instance. And we told it 4, generated 4, and we have a count index. Now, we have a count index to look through the number of instances we are creating so that it will add it to the name, instance 1, instance 2, instance 3, up to 4. Then our machine type and so on. Now here it has defined our boot disk. I think it's still suggesting Debian 9 can change this to 11 since Debian 9 has reached EOL. Okay, now we also asked it to create a load balancer with a backend service. First, it created our backend service, named it backend. Then it added, okay, what backend should it attach to? It references it back to our instance that we created and specifying it to add the group to the using their self-link. Now, then health check is created so that we can be able to check and make sure the instances are working fine. Then the next thing is URL map. Now, the URL map is to link to our backend service. Okay, anytime GCP URL map will give us an IP address, and anytime we hit the IP address, it hits the backend service, which then hits the instance. This is a lot for just a sentence that you specified to code suggestions and it gave you your answer. Now, let's test this to see. Now, let me open my terminal and I say, let me initiate Terraform init. Now, to use GCP, I've already authenticated installed my GCP SDK and I've authenticated my account. Now let's do Terraform plan. Terraform should be able to create my resources. Terraform plan to see, okay, are our resources valid? Is everything fine? Okay, there's an issue somewhere. It says incorrect attribute value type. GCP in the resource backend, the tuple with 4 items. Okay, let's review and fix that part. Now, okay, it's trying to get this. Let's change it to an instance group instead. Let's say no, I don't want create an instance group. Okay, let's see. So instead of using the tuple that was specified, it should use an instance group. Awesome. We have our instance group here. Okay, let's tab to accept. Okay, fine. This is our instance group and it's going to be talking on port 80. We've named it instance group. Now, and here, instead of, no, we already have our URL map. We don't need this. Instead of this, the backend being this, we'll change it to that of our instance group instead. So we change it to the name of the instance group, which is instance underscore group. Now, if we come here, yeah, that's the name, instance underscore group. So the next thing is, okay, let's do Terraform plan again. Control S, Terraform plan. Okay, now what is it saying? Instance group. Instance group has not been declared in the root model. Now let's see. Instance underscore group. We have instance underscore group here. Let's see where the problem is. Now that's one thing with suggestions that are provided. You don't have to use it verbatim. You can always review to make sure, okay, has what has been provided correct? Is it valid? Let me review them to make sure it's all fine. Now, then, here, I forgot to change this. So instead of GitLab compute instance, I'll say instance group underscore group. Now, let's check to make sure everything is fine. Let's do Terraform plan again. Oh, I've not saved. Let me save here and do Terraform plan again to make sure everything is fine and everything is fine. But let's review everything we have. We have our instances. We have, though there's no provisioning. There's no provisioner specified. We can add a provisioner to it also using code suggestions. We have our instance group. Everything is fine. We have our backend. We have health check. Then let's see. Are we missing anything? We don't have forwarding rules. Let's see. Let's add proxy and forwarding rules. So let's enter here. Let's see if it will suggest it for us. Yes, create target HTTP proxy. It understands the context. And it's telling us, okay, this is probably the next thing you will need. Now, and it does that for us by adding the proxy to target our URL map. So if I accept this, then it will suggest the next thing. You probably need a forwarding rule also. And I say, yes, I need a forwarding rule. Voila. And it gives me a forwarding rule. And if I still want a firewall rule, yeah, you probably need a firewall rule. It will give you suggestions on the firewall rule that is relevant to the context of everything you are doing. Okay, you can see here, it's saying allow 80, 80, 80, 1000 to 2000 for instances, and the source targets are this. But for our use case, we can remove the firewall rule. That is just to show how code suggestions understands the context of what you're trying to create, and it keeps suggesting as you go. Now, okay, let me save this and do Terraform plan again to make sure everything is fine. Everything is fine. So what we'll do next is to Terraform apply. Let's apply. Apply. Okay, when we do Terraform apply, it will definitely take a while. Let me see. Yes. And well, while it does this thing, I'll allow it and skip through the video. Awesome. Our resources have been created. But one thing I forgot to add was the provisioners. Okay. So we can come back and say, here, let's see if it will suggest. No. Now, it's suggesting startup disk instead. So I would say add remote provisioner. Okay, let's see. It should suggest a remote provisioner for me. Voila. That's done one, even with a script to create Apache and so on. And that is exactly what I need. But remote provisioner will not work without connection. So it's already suggesting let's add a connection. And so I press enter. It's going to provide, the necessary connection I need, which is SSH root, and it should use my private key on my system. Now, but the private key on my system will not work because from the beginning, we never added the keys to the server. So we'll go back and add metadata to add the SSH key to the server. So let's say add meta, comment Z, let's add it as a comment, add metadata. Now, let's see, it's thinking. Yep, I accept it. That's added metadata for me to add my SSH key. So here I will just save and do a Terraform plan to make sure everything is fine. We've already provisioned our resources, so it's most likely going to create or make certain changes to some of the things. So let me do Terraform apply, and we skip to the end of the apply. Awesome, it's done. Now, let's see what has been created. So let me bring my browser window into view and show you. Now, if we look at, let's go into my VM instances, we'll notice these instances were created. Instance 0, 1, 2, 3. Now, and they are created as part of an instance group. So if we go, that's the name of my instance group, if you recall. Now, if we go into my instance group, you'll see that it's being used by backend, which is the name of my backend. Let's see, just backend here. Now, then if we go to the backend, we'll see that it's attached to a URL map. Now, if we access the URL map, remember we asked our provisioner to install Apache onto the instances. So we have our URL saying, on the front end, this is the IP address you can use to access your resources, and the backend is this, which is connected to this instance group. So let's view this and see what our application looks like. Internal server error. Most likely some of the deployment and other things are not done. But basically, that is how easy it is. Well, that is how easy it is to use GitLab Duo Code Suggestions to manage your infrastructure, to make suggestions. This is what I want to do. This, especially if you are new to Terraform or you are new to infrastructure as code. So instead of spending so much time going through the documentation, trying to understand what you need to do, you can just start. I want to create this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Then Code Suggestions does the rest for you. Suggesting, you might probably need this. You might probably need this. Can you do this? Adjust this. Do this. Do that. Yeah, that is the beauty of GitLab Code Suggestions. You can learn more about, or sometimes if you need help, you can ask GitLab Duo Chat here to say, let's say, how do I create CI for Terraform, for example? And I ask. So it depends on something. We all know AI depends on how you prompt the AI engine. So let's see what GitLab Duo Chat gives us here for this question. How do I create CI for Terraform? Let's check on our page to see if everything works fine. Let's see. Internal server error. Yeah, most likely something went wrong somewhere. Awesome. You see, it has giving us an answer. Here's a basic GitLab CI configuration for running Terraform in your GitLab CI/CD pipeline. Now, you have your image that's specified. Okay, this is where it should store the cage. This is the stages it will run. It will do validate, under validate, Terraform init validates, on that generate Terraform plan, and to apply or to approve. So you can simply copy this and create your CI and create your CI file. You can copy this, put it on gitlab-ci.yaml, and you have a CI for your application. Reviewing the error mentioned by the browser, I observed that in the configuration that was generated, the connection details, the user specified in connection details was not matching the SSH key metadata. Here we had the admin, and while here there was root. So I changed it to user so the two could match, and that way Apache was unable to the remote remote exec provisioner could not run the script specified for it to set up Apache. But now that it's fixed, we can see if we go to our URL map and visit this link, we have our hello world. Yeah, thank you. You can learn more about GitLab Code Suggestions and GitLab Duo by going to about.gitlab.com. About.gitlab.com. On the solutions section, you have GitLab Duo AI, and you can see different features, GitLab Code Suggestions, and others that you can benefit from to create your applications faster, efficiently, and securely. Thank you.